afternoon. Myself is Dr. Akhi Mishra. I am here to discuss about the topic antitubercular agent. In our previous lecture, we have discussed about the antitubercular agent in part 1, and now we are continuing with the part 1 or the initial lecture, that is antitubercular agent, that is a part of medicinal chemistry. Okay. So, before going to the drugs, in the initial lecture we have discussed about the what is tuberculosis. We all know that tuberculosis is a disease which is caused by mycobacteria. The mycobacteria can be Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Mycobacterium bovis and Mycobacterium africanum, but Mycobacterium bovis and africanum are causative agent which are not very common, but this is mainly caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay. And then we have also discussed that what type of tuberculosis can be there. On the basis of different types of symptoms, the tuberculosis can be divided like pulmonary, extrapulmonary. As the name is denoting, ki if it is affecting mainly the lungs, it is pulmonary. If it is affecting other organ system like gastrointestinal tract, like the meningitis layer of our brain, then it is extrapulmonary tuberculosis. Okay. We have also seen that tuberculosis can be divided on the basis of active and dormant. Active means ki the multiplication of this Mycobacterium tuberculosis is occurring very rapidly, but when this multiplication is not occurring in our body, in the patient's body very rapidly, then it is in the rest phase. The rest phase when it is known as the dormant tuberculosis, right. So, we have also seen that one type of tuberculosis is miliary tuberculosis. What is the meaning of miliary tuberculosis? I think you all people know, because if you have seen my previous lecture, that miliary tuberculosis means that the tuberculi or the Mycobacterium tuberculi, the causative agent is multiplying very rapidly in the blood serum, and it is travelling in whole of the body by the blood. Then it is known as miliary tuberculosis. Okay. Initially we have discussed about isoniazid and one more drug, and now we are discussing about ethambutol. Ethambutol is also a medication which is primarily used to treat the tuberculosis. Again, we have discussed in our previous lecture that the treatment of you can say this tuberculosis disease is not only single, it is a combinational therapy type treatment, right, because this is usually given in combination with other tuberculosis medication. We have read earlier isoniazid, okay, rifampicin and pyrazinamide. So, ethambutol is a very active drug which is used to treat the tuberculosis, but as we all know that a combinational type of treatment is given, so it is given along with these drugs. The drugs can be isoniazid, rifampicin or pyrazinamide. It can be used to treat Mycobacterium avium complex. See, this is again very important. What is the meaning of Mycobacterium avium complex? Mycobacterium avium complex means it can be used for an infection which is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which is caused by Mycobacterium bovis and other species. The other species can be Mycobacterium canacei, and it is taken by oral route by mouth. So, this point is very important, that it can be used to treat Mycobacterium avium complex. The meaning of this complex is it can be used to treat the infection which can be caused by any of the Mycobacterium species. The species can be Mycobacterium tuberculosis, bovis, we have already discussed. If we talk about its structure, this is the structure of ethambutanol. It is having 2 hydroxyl group and the secondary amino group. Okay. Mechanism. Again, the mechanism, as we have seen in the isoniazid, that it is inhibiting the synthesis of mycolic acid. The mycolic acid is very important part of this Mycobacterium cell wall. And what is the its mechanism, I will tell you in detail, but first read this. It acts by inhibition of arabinosyl transferase, which is an enzyme that polymerizes arabinose into arabin and then arabinogalactan, a mycobacterial cell wall constituent. Actually, what will happen if we talk about the Mycobacterium cell wall, then what it is look like? A mycobacterium cell wall is very thick. Okay, this mycobacterium cell wall is very thick. The outermost layer is made up of lipids. Okay, the outermost layer is made up of lipids. Then the layer is made up of arabino, this one, arabinogalactan. Okay, arabinogalactan. Then it is made up of mycolic acid. Okay, and this is made up of other types of lipids. So, as I have told you earlier that this is a very slow treatment type of disease. Why this is very slow type of this disease having a very slow treatment? Because the main thing which is causing the, you can say, interruption in the treatment is the cell wall. That is why all the drugs are targeting the cell wall of this mycobacteria, because it is very thick and it is highly lipid in nature. Are you getting my point? Because you can see ki it is made up of layers of lipids, then it is arabinogalactan, then mycolic acid, then other type of lipids and polysaccharides. So, it is having a very thick or very highly lipid type of cell wall, because of which staining of this mycobacterium tuberculosis is a very serious you can say hurdle. If people are not able to stain this with this, and it can survive in the acidic and as well as in the alkaline medium. Okay. So, what is happening? You have seen here that one of the cell constituent is mycolic acid and one of the cell constituent also is arabinogalactan. So, isoniazid alone is inhibiting the synthesis of mycolic acid. Okay. But what this drug is doing? It is inhibiting the synthesis of this arabinogalactan. How? Because this arabinogalactan is synthesized from arabinose, or it synthesized from arabinose with the help of enzyme. This enzyme I have shown you here, arabinosyl transferase. Arabinosyl transferase. What is happening? Ki for the cell wall synthesis, arabinogalactan is a very essential constituent, and this arabinogalactan is synthesized from arabinose, and the arabinose is getting converted into arabinogalactan with the help of enzyme. The enzyme is arabinosyl transferase. So, what this is doing? This is inhibiting this enzyme, arabinosyl transferase, and if this enzyme arabinosyl transferase is inhibited, what will happen? Arabinose say from arabinose this arabinogalactan is not synthesized, and this is a mycobacterial cell wall constituent. So, the same phenomena will happen ki cell wall deficient or cell wall will not able to form of this mycobacteria. That means, it works by obstructing the formation of cell wall. Mycolic acid also it is inhibiting, but main the action of this is arabinogalactan. Okay. It acts by inhibition of arabinosyl transferase and enzyme which forms arabinogalactan from the polymerization of arabinose, and this arabinogalactan is a mycobacterial cell wall constituent. So, basically it is working by obstructing the formation of cell wall. Mycolic acid attached to what will now happen? We have seen na ki this is lipid, this is arabinogalactan and this is mycolic acid. So, how this is attached? The mycolic acid attached to the 5-hydroxyl group of arabinose residue of arabinogalactan and forming this type of complex in the cell wall. These are the layers. Okay. So, they must be cross-linked with each other. So, how this cross-linking is occurring? The hydroxyl group of mycolic acid is attaching itself to the D-arabinose residue of arabinogalactan, because this layer is of arabinogalactan, this layer is of mycolic. So, both are linked together with the help of hydroxyl group, and because of which the cell wall will or cell wall will be synthesized. But what this drug is doing? We are talking about ethambutol. Okay. So, what this ethambutol is doing? This is inhibiting the arabinosyl transferase enzyme, and this enzyme is helping for the synthesis of arabinogalactan. Is it okay? The mechanism is very simple ki the mycobacterium cell wall is not able to synthesize. Why? Because it is inhibiting the formation of arabinogalactan. The SAR, the structure activity relationship, here is the structure. You can see here that it is abbreviated. We have seen for isoniazid, it is abbreviated as INH, it is abbreviated as ENB. Okay. The dextro enantiomer is 200 to 500 times more active than its mesoisomer. Very important point, levoisomer is pharmacologically inert. Structurally, it must possess diamine, you can see here, and 2 butanol moieties. These are the butanol moieties, and physically it is water soluble bacteriostatic agent. So, the SAR is very simple, that is, it is abbreviated as ethambutol as EMB. The dextroisomer is more active than its mesoisomer, 200 to 500 times. Levoisomer is inert. Structurally, it possesses aliphatic diamine and 2 butanol moieties. It is water soluble bacteriostatic agent. Okay. Pyrazinamide. Next drug is pyrazinamide. You can see here that pyrazinamide is a medication which is again used to treat tuberculosis, because we have seen pyrazinamide is having the pyrazine nucleus. So, this is the pyrazine nucleus and it is attached with amide linkage CONH2. Okay. For active tuberculosis, it is used with rifampicin, isoniazid and either streptomycin or with ethambutol. It is not generally recommended for the treatment of latent. See, we have already discussed ki active tuberculosis, latent tuberculosis. So, you can see here that this pyrazinamide is basically used for active tuberculosis, but it is not recommended. It is not recommended for the treatment of latent tuberculosis. It is taken again by mouth, that is oral route. Mechanism, again very important point. I have told you earlier that the main mechanism of almost all the antitubercular agents are the inhibition of cell wall synthesis. We have seen that the cell wall of this Mycobacterium tuberculosis is very thick. It is basically made up of many layers of lipid. So, by 1 or 2 enzymes inhibition, each drug is acting. This pyrazinamide actually is a type of inactive drug. First, it must convert to pyrazinoic acid. Then this pyrazinoic acid, what it happens, its analog can be 5-chloropyrazinamide. It inhibits the fatty acid synthetase enzyme of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It is inhibiting another enzyme. We have seen that ethambutol is inhibiting one enzyme, arabinosyl transferase, right, and this pyrazinamide is firstly converted to pyrazinoic acid and it is inhibiting another enzyme, that is fatty acid synthetase 1 enzyme of Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and it binds also to aspartate decarboxylate, triggering its degradation. Means basically the main mechanism is it is inhibiting the cell wall synthesis, and by what? By inhibiting the enzyme fatty acid synthetase 1 enzyme, right. This is the main action of this pyrazinamide. We have seen its structure, we have seen what type of mechanism it is having. Now, para-amino-salicylic acid, another drug, it is very important drug. It is also known as 4-amino-salicylic acid or it is known as para-amino-salicylic acid. It is sold under the brand name of Pacer among others. It is an antibiotic primarily used to treat tuberculosis. Specifically, it is used to treat active drug resistant tuberculosis together with other anti-tubercular medication. Now, the point, very important point is drug resistant tuberculosis. If a patient have developed a resistance to a specific drug, then this drug, that is para-amino-salicylic acid, can be used. Okay, you can see here that this is the structure of salicylic acid. In the para position, one NH2 group is there, that is why it is known as para amino salicylic acid. Mechanism, again, see, again and again I am telling you that the tuberculosis can be prevented by the drugs by basically inhibiting the cell wall synthesis. Cell wall synthesis of what? Cell wall synthesis of mycobacteria, which is the main causative agent. Now, there are two main mechanisms of this drug which is responsible for amino salicylic acid bacteriostatic action. Against what? Against the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. What will happen? See here, the binding of para-amino benzoic acid to pteridine synthetase acts as a first step in folic acid synthesis. Now what will happen? This para-amino salicylic acids bind pteridine synthesis with greater affinity than para-amino benzoic acid, effectively inhibiting the synthesis of folic acid. What will happen? Again I am telling you, different types of cell wall constituents are there. One cell wall constituent is lipid, one cell wall constituent is mycolic acid, one cell wall constituent is arabinogalactin, and one very essential constituent is folic acid. What it is doing? It is inhibiting the synthesis of folic acid. How? Because one of the main enzyme which acts for the synthesis of folic acid is this pteridine synthetase. Okay, to this pteridine synthetase normally para-amino benzoic acid going to bind. This para-amino benzoic acid is present in the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. What will happen? When this para-amino benzoic acid will bind with pteridine synthetase, the synthesis of folic acid will take place, and when the synthesis of folic acid take place, what will happen? The synthesis of Mycobacterium cell wall occurs. Now what will happen? When you administer this drug to the patient, the para-amino salicylic acid is having more affinity for this enzyme. Which enzyme? Pteridine synthetase. Now what will happen? In spite of binding of para-amino benzoic acid, our drug, the drug is para-amino salicylic acid, will go and bind to the pteridine synthetase, and by binding to pteridine synthetase, it will inhibit the synthesis of folic acid. And now what will happen? If folic acid is not synthesized, obstruction of the synthesis of Mycobacterium cell wall will occur. I hope you understand कि folic acid is one of the main essential constituent, and for folic acid synthesis what will happen? The para-amino benzoic acid, which is already present in the Mycobacterium, it goes and binds to pteridine synthetase, which is an enzyme which is already present. Now when you administer the drug, what will happen? This para-amino salicylic acid will go and bind with pteridine synthetase in spite of para-amino benzoic acid, because of which what will happen? The tuberculosis, the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, the cell wall will not be synthesized. The second mechanism, very important, or we have seen in many examples, that it is inhibiting the synthesis of one of the main essential cell wall component, that is mycobactin, thus reducing the iron uptake by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So, these two mechanisms are there. The first one is folic acid synthesis is interfered, and the second one is amino salicylic acid may inhibit the synthesis of cell wall component. The cell wall component name is mycobactin, and if this see, the first is folic acid, the second is mycobactin. If this is not synthesized, what will happen? Iron uptake was reduced, and if iron uptake is reduced, you can say Mycobacterium tuberculosis cannot survive, right? Slowly they will die, or their, you can say, multiplication or their growth will stop in the patient. Structure activity relationship of para-amino salicylic acid. For maximum activity, you can see here the structure. Okay, this is the structure. We all know that para-amino, this is amino salicylic acid, and this is para-amino salicylic acid. In para-amino salicylic acid, very important point is, this is the acidic moiety, this is the amino moiety. They must be at the para position to each other, because for maximum activity the amino and COOH group, that is the carboxylic acid group, must be at para position to each other. This OH group, the OH group can be ortho or meta, but maximum activity is you can say is observed when at ortho. So, you can see here in this para amino salicylic acid, this OH is present at ortho group. Okay. If this NH2 group is replaced by any group like chlorine or other alkyl group, the activity is reduced. Okay. And if this COOH group, if we develop any type of, you can say COOR, any type of ester or amide, you can say substituent, then it will become less active. Getting my point? So, if this COH, if converted into amide or ester group, it becomes less active. So, whole the SAR of this para amino salicylic acid is कि they must present at the para position. This OH must be at the ortho for maximum activity. NH2 if replaced with any group, the substance or the drug becomes less active, and the COH if converted to amide or ester, it becomes less active. Okay. Next, this is the synthesis of para, because some of the drugs are there in your syllabus, which according to syllabus you have to learn the synthesis. So, I have also add this, because this synthesis of this para amino salicylic acid is mentioned in your syllabus also, right. So, you can see here the how we can synthesize this para amino salicylic acid by using an amino benzoic acid, by treating it with H2SO4, then sodium nitrate, then causing it hydrolysis in the presence of HCl and nitrogen, and then reduction. Okay. So, you can learn from this slide. Now, rifampicin, it is also known as rifampin. It is an antibiotic which is used to treat several types of infection. I have told you earlier that it is not so कि only this drug is responsible for treating tuberculosis. This can be active for other type. This rifampicin is a basically semi-synthetic derivative of rifamycin. Okay. This rifampicin is derivative, semi-synthetic derivative of rifamycin, which is obtained from Streptomyces meditere, right. From Streptomyces meditere, you can say one natural drug which is an antibiotic is obtained, which is known as rifamycin, and this rifamycin is semi-synthesized to form the rifampicin. And the mechanism of this rifampicin is, it is thought to inhibit bacterial DNA dependent RNA polymerase. This DNA dependent RNA polymerase will cause the formation of, you can say the formation of bacterial mycobacterial DNA. How? Because you can see here the mycobacterial DNA is like this. What this DNA polymerase is formed? This DNA polymerase is making this, you can see here the it is causing the supercoiling, right. So, with the help of this enzyme, the enzyme is DNA dependent RNA polymerase. So, it is inhibiting this enzyme, because of which what will happen, drug binding in the polymerase subunit will occurs, which will causes the, you can see here, blocking the elongation of RNA, because if these strands of DNA are separated when they are making as this type, then what will happen, mRNA synthesis will take place. Okay. So, it is blocking the elongation of this RNA or mRNA. It is thought to be concentrated related. It is bactericidal, broad spectrum activity against gram positive, gram negative, and against basically against Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The structure of rifampicin you can see here. Rifabutin, it is also an antibiotic which is used to treat tuberculosis. It also treat, again this point is important, against many species which comes in the category of Mycobacterium avium complex. Mycobacterium avium complex involve different types of Mycobacterium species. Okay. It is typically used in those people who cannot tolerate rifampin, such as people with HIV, AIDS or retrovirus. We have seen earlier, we have discussed in the previous lecture that tuberculosis is mainly the people who are prone to tuberculosis are those which are having a very you can say very less active or very weak immune system, and the people who are suffering with HIV or AIDS, as the name denotes, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. The immune system is very weak of these patients. So, it is mainly used to treat those type of people who develop the tuberculosis. For active tuberculosis, it is used with other actinobacterial medication. Mechanism, it also again works in the same way. It causes the inhibition of DNA dependent RNA polymerase, leading to a suppression of RNA synthesis and cell death. That means it is bactericidal in nature. So, we have seen that rifampicin and rifabutin, they are acting in the same way, they are inhibiting the DNA dependent RNA polymerase. Cycloserine, it is sold under the brand name Seromycin. It is a GABA transaminase inhibitor. It is used along with other tuberculosis anti-tubercular medication. The structure you can see here. It works as an antibiotic again by inhibiting the cell wall biosynthesis. How? Because as a cyclic analog of D-alanine, it acts against two enzymes. The enzymes are these, alanine racemase and D-alanine ligase. It interferes with, ultimately by interrupting with these enzymes action, it is interfering with bacterial cell wall synthesis by inhibiting these two enzymes, because of which cell wall synthesis will not take place, and if cell wall synthesis will not take place, it will leads to the bacterial death. Okay. You can see here what is happening. This cycloserine is inhibiting alanine racemase, this cycloserine is inhibiting D-alanine ligase, and ultimately what will happen, this alanine is not able to bind with this cell wall, and if this cell wall binding is not occur, the synthesis of cell wall will not be maintained, because of which cell will death. So, this is all about my today's lecture, which involves the different types of you can say drugs which are helpful for the treatment of Mycobacterium tuberculosis or tuberculosis. Thank you very much.